Oh boy, Frogger TikTok.
Okay, the only thing I missed about Overwatch 1 was the experimental patches made by content creators.
Oh, that's so true. Is he going to talk about the beat? He's going to talk about the beat and landing on someone's head. He is going to talk about it. He's going to talk about it.
There was one patch where Lucio was able to deal damage if he landed on someone's
Yep, I knew it.
head with beat. And it was one of the most funniest 2 weeks ever. Because
They talked about making this an actual change, and then they went back on it.
you could just take out anyone. If you wanted to take out a tank, it was possible. If you wanted to take out...
So, like, this is how the Ryan Impact Slam became a thing. Because, okay, who made this one? I'm trying to think who did this one specifically. But I remember I did the tank one. And so that's how we got the Ryan one-shot. I didn't know we had the ability to make it do unlimited one-shot damage. Was it Violet? It might have been Violet. So during that experimental patch, made it do 400 damage. So you could one-shot every squishy in the game, but not most tanks. It was super fun. It was a great time. And then this too was awesome. And I don't know why, like, they went back on it. It was dumb.
Take out anyone. If you wanted to...
And you nerfed Roadhog. So do you know what I remember what I did? I nuked Roadhog. I made Roadhog do like no damage. I gave him hook on like a 3-second cooldown, and I took away all his damage, so you could hook in and then do fucking nothing at all. I was like, fuck. I made Orisa terrible too. I made Orisa have only armor. So she had 1 health and like 399 armor, but she couldn't do shit. So she was just a wall, and she was terrible. It was great. I actually cooked with that. Was that not one of the most fun tournaments to watch in your whole life? Just saying. Just
take out a tank, it was possible. If you wanted to take out a fire, it was possible. Anyone you beat on their head, you win. It was so funny. But like, they stopped doing those
Yeah, it was Helicopter Orisa, and then I think I gave Orisa a Santa hat. That's what I did. Orisa was so terrible and hated, and I was like, wait, everyone hates Bastion, but in Overwatch 2 they gave him a hat and everybody looks like they like Bastion now. So I was like, give Orisa a hat. And so they gave her a Santa hat. That's what it was.
Content creator patches, and I don't know why, because why didn't I get to do one? I would have made the funniest Lucio patch ever. Like, you know, I would have made it that he, like, you know, yeah, those patches were all for fun, man. There was nothing serious about it. But like, if I was to do something, I would make it if Lucio touches the ground at all, he just blows up and deals 500 damage to enemies and teammates. That would be peak.
So fun fact about those patches is, and my theory on why they got rid of them is because like creators wanted to do like actual balance patches. They wanted to do like, you know, like fix the game type patches. And they're like, no, it needs to be like April Foolsy, you know, like kind of goofy. And then they started to take ideas from our patches, and it was like, wait, what if we could like reverse engineer them and like give them ideas that would actually like, you know, like it would actually help us.
I get the same.
But okay, next.
I get the same coffee every day.
Wait, hang on.
I get the same
base Donkey's Enjoyer. Continue.
Same coffee every day. 2 caramel, 1 cream. From the same Dunkin' at the same time.
Yep.
Every day.
Yep.
Part of my routine.
Yep.
It tastes different every single time. And it's bad 90% of the time.
Oh, you're going on the wrong donkeys. You gotta pick everybody. Listen, you gotta find your donkeys. It's like your soulmate, okay? You know, for me, I'm lucky. There's like 12 donkeys within a mile of me. But you find your donkeys, you stick with that donkeys, and you never change. And it will always be good. Except once in a while you get a shit one. But most of the time.
But the 10% of the time that it's good, it's the best coffee I've ever had in my life. And that's what I realized. If I wanted better coffee, why don't I just change places or find a different brand or do anything, make my own coffee, try anything else? It's just like Overwatch. It's just like Overwatch. I expect the good thing, the 10%, 90% of the time, but I get the bad 90% of the time.
Emong watched this and said the exact same thing. What can I tell you? We don't lie.
And guess what I do? I play the same game over and over again. Please, does anybody?
I feel that, dude. Bro's going insane. Oh, man.
So now that Overwatch 2 is officially owned by the monolith that is Xbox, I've been seeing a lot of people saying, first off, that they're very hopeful for the future of Overwatch, but second off, that they're very nervous for the future of Overwatch. Obviously, there's the silver lining that the actual devil himself is no longer in charge of the studio, but I've seen a lot of people worried for the future of Overwatch 2
I'll watch
in
like a
terms
minute.
of comparing it to other games under the Microsoft IP and how they have proceeded. The number one game that comes to mind is Minecraft. A game that was at one point a titan of industry that was purchased by Microsoft and everything went downhill. But I actually think a much more apt...
Would you say Minecraft went downhill? I don't know if I'd say that.
comparison is to compare it to a game like Halo Infinite. So what is this game?
You think it went downhill? Can you explain? No, seriously, can you explain to me why Minecraft went downhill? If you're like a Minecraft connoisseur, I genuinely don't know. It got too complex. Really? Because I always thought people said it didn't get enough updates. 1 million microtransactions. But can't you still play the game no problem without microtransactions though? Like, it always had like, you could buy like some skins for like $1, didn't it? Updates are far between, little added, and every plugin / mod dev has to do a whole recode. It's lack of content. Outside perspective, the game is marketed more towards like kids, right? Like, it's supposed to be more like a kids game that also anyone can play, right? Like, but it's supposed to be like a kid-friendly game. If the kid-friendly game is too complex, wouldn't that turn it off to them? So like, to me, from the outside, I think like, how many layers can you add before it gets too much? You know? Minecraft will put aside. Halo, I have a better idea of, so let's let them cook on Halo.
Down the hill. But I actually think a much more apt comparison is to compare it to a game like Halo Infinite. So what does this game and this game have in common that makes me think Overwatch 2's future is much brighter under?
So Halo has some issues, but I don't know if many people know this, but like 343 really did not like Bungie. And like, they've actively tried to kill a lot of the shit Bungie did for years, right? Like, there's certain characters and storylines that were like more niche and behind the scenes, like book stuff. Like certain Spartans that existed, they were kind of building them up over time. Like, I forget what it's called. It's like Black Team. They just like, it just killed them off like instantly. You know what I mean? So like, I don't know. I think there's a little bit of when a game changes hands completely. You mean Noble Team? No, I do not mean Noble Team. They weren't in the games. Anyways.
Under Microsoft. Well, both of these games were a sequel in which a more free-to-play focused game took advantage of an existing IP to make a sequel with undercooked PvE content, which struggled in its first year tremendously due to poor leadership decisions, but then took their time to find their footing and are now starting to actually improve the game moving forward. Once the poor leadership decisions were fixed in Halo Infinite, pretty much within the year, the moment we start to see a reasonable turnaround for game dev studios, we started to see a game like Halo Infinite that was at pretty much rock bottom for the Halo franchise, consistently start to get substantial content updates that improve the game month over month, year after year. We compare that to a game like Overwatch. Overwatch, when it's owned by a $70 billion company, is a pretty important thing to keep profitable. But Overwatch, when owned by a $2 trillion company, is basically nothing. It's a feather in their cap, that's it. When you compare the sort of profit incentives of Xbox Game Studio versus the actual devil, Xbox allows a lot more freedom to their releases. Bobby over here was infamous for fucking with the Overwatch devs consistently, and if you want to know more, let me know, and I will go through some of the things he has done. But again, a better example is to look at something like Halo Infinite, a game that hit its rock bottom, that was a live service game that was then revitalized and pushed...
Sorry if I knew this, but 343 was a sister company of Bungie. When Microsoft took Halo away from Bungie, because Bungie was done with the game, Microsoft asked Bungie, hey, whoever wants to continue working on Halo, we'll create a studio for you to do that. And that's what happened, and a majority of 343 are ex-Bungie devs. 1, did not know that. 2, it's hard for me to sit there and go, it still doesn't feel that way, because like how radically the game changed when it changed hands, if that makes sense. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's all speculation at that point, but it just feels like the story went completely 180 different direction.
and pushed forward by devs that actually give a shit about the game they're making. Actually starting to listen to the community, pushing out things that were more player-friendly, not really caring about the bottom line and profit incentives and stuff nearly as much, and trying to build a lasting platform for a game that will make people come back with time.
Yeah, I guess that's fair because Halo 3 was supposed to be the end and they were going to end it there. But, I mean, okay, I don't know like a ton about this, but I saw a thing that like got leaked apparently that either it was Bungie or 343 wanted to make a ODST 2 and make it more of like a almost like Helldivers type of thing, and they said no.
Time with bigger inputs that would happen due to the team just having genuine passion and not being sabotaged by the higher ups. This ain't Minecraft. The Overwatch devs are not riding on their coattails. These devs have shit to prove. They need to show the world that their game is actually good.
That was just a pitch. Yeah, but like Halo does not feel the same way it used to in a lot of ways. That's wrong. Microsoft gutted all Bungie influence in Halo. That's why it doesn't feel like Halo 4 or 5. And then with Infinite, they became open to Staten coming back to Halo. That was like, I don't really, like, I'm not an expert in Halo, but it just, as someone who grew up playing tons of Halo, 4 felt so different. 5 felt just better, but like out of left field. And I enjoyed playing Infinite, but there was no story to Infinite to me, which is like what I loved Halo for.
Tell this by just listening to the Overwatch devs. No one who is comfortable with the performance of their game constantly speaks about how much they want to improve or how disappointed they were with the product of their game. These two games have that in common, so look to that for what to expect. In a year's time, we'll probably start seeing some massive changes to how Overwatch handles everything going forward, if not sooner. And it's pretty hard for shit to get worse than it is now.
It definitely could get worse as somebody who started creating content in that era. I don't know. I don't want to jump that far and say that Overwatch is going to end up like Halo. I don't think that's actually very true.
Hanzo's young.
I think Overwatch has just got a really bad case of done irreparable damage to its image. And even though Overwatch today is much better than it has been in the last 3 years, 4 years, maybe 5. Nah, 5's a little pushing it. Maybe 4 years. It's still looked down upon like as if it's just like bottom of the barrel. And like they did it to themselves. They did it to themselves, and they can't fix it. They just keep tripping over their own feet, and it's sad, but it's true.
Hanzo's young Hanzo skin was originally going to sound younger when using his ultimates. In this Numbani spawn room, you can see evening lighting through the windows, which might be a future variation. Doritos can be found behind Diva's gravestone victory pose. And talking of gravestone victory poses, did you ever notice that Blizzard stopped making them? Apparently they felt they didn't reflect most characters' personality. Wrecking Ball cannot normally crouch, but if we make him in the workshop, he'll do a secret T pose. Widowmaker's surveillance victory pose will change slightly if you equip a skin where she has a skirt. Orisa received a javelin spray during the 2017 Summer Games event. Her kit then got one when she was reworked for Overwatch 2. You can find tally marks on Junker Queen's weapon, Junkrat's weapon, and also on the back of Wrecking Ball's Junker skin. Zarya's Overwatch 1 design had a tattoo that said 512, which was her weightlifting record. Some of her skins in Heroes of the Storm have an 816 tattoo showing she beat it. Mao's machine guns are named Cha-Cha and Gunny, and both are engraved with their respective initials.
That's a big jump. That's a big ass jump, god damn. Breaking your record by like 300? That's f***ing crazy.